Hi everyone, this is Shelly. I am walking through my tips for the week because I think it's easier probably to talk through some of them than try to write it up. So, the design and development strategy is a course curriculum map. The idea here is to get you thinking about your course in terms of course objectives and unit objectives and having those match up. Also, you'll notice over here getting you to think about in terms of that you have content delivery or teaching activities, and then you also have content learning activities. These are low stakes learning activities that provide students with the opportunity to learn something before it's assessed, which in writing classes is usually the major paper, but in um, literature classes it might be a test. Um, so it's getting you to try to think and map in those terms. Now, the tough thing about asking folks to think in terms of a curriculum map or to develop a curriculum map is there's a variety of ways you can do it, and um, uh, different people think and function different ways. So this is a grid. I've done something similar in a mind map or a cluster map before, so sharing this example, but the grid is what I shared with you. I think the idea, as long as you start trying to flesh it out. I do want to show, though, that curriculum mapping with writing courses especially can be tricky because a lot of times our course objectives, so here is the English 102 course objectives. A lot of times those objectives are relevant to all of the units. These are pretty broad level objectives. And so the one thing it gets us having to think very carefully about is our unit outcomes or objectives. And Sean did a wonderful job of, in his document here, and I'm not sharing that because he hasn't given me permission to share the actual document, but I am showing some of his stuff without permission. So here's where I pulled the official goals. But he also up here in these general goals started listing things that students need to learn and do to meet these official goals. And those tend to be the things that show up at the unit objectives or outcomes level here. The course objectives that I fleshed out for you is an online writing course I'm teaching right now. Granted, it is a 1 credit hour and it is a 600 level MBA uh, writing class. It's just where my head is. I just kind of quickly revised the course and taught it. I promise I will be sharing other undergraduate level courses and content and stuff as we move forward. But I created an example curriculum map for you all to see. My course outcomes are, I borrowed them from the WPA outcome statement, so it looks familiar for a lot of you. But here's the main thing is that, I'm showing here are my major projects or assessments for each unit. Here are my unit outcomes. Now, in this case, I just borrowed language from above. If I really spent time, that would probably break down even further. But then here I have content delivery activities. And again, that's where you're teaching students, and it's usually stuff like reading, lecturing, videos, that kind of stuff. But then content learning activities, those are the lower to middle stakes, so meaning um, they're activities that students get a little bit of credit, because if they don't get credit, they don't do it. Get a little bit of credit, but it's a safe space for them to learn, and they have the option to either revise and resubmit, or if they do it wrong or miss it altogether, it won't hurt their overall course grade badly unless they continue to do it wrong or miss it. And so here, in this instance, I linked out to a bunch of examples that build this course, this particular course I teach in Google Docs, so it was easy to make copies for you all. So I just wanted to share this idea of building a course curriculum map. This is really important for you all because U of A has an adapted, I think it's an adapted Quality Matters rubric. Oops, that link is not the right link. I will have to make sure it is. Okay, I'm having a moment. This link will work when you all watch this, but these were responsible for these, and curriculum mapping is critical for this rubric. It's a bunch of the standards, as you can see. So it's really important that we do this intellectual work as designing and delivering courses. And it also is just good instructional design. Okay, so each week I'm hoping to share with you a design and development strategy. So this week it was course curriculum mapping, and that's tough, folks. It's tough and it's messy. I'm also hoping to share with you an application exploration. So this week, again, because the course I'm living in and the course I was sharing is a lot of stuff in Google Drive. Specifically, Google Drive Apps is collaborative learning environment, and so two activities I want to show you is, so Google has a presentation application. So um, think PowerPoint. So what I do in this environment, and it can either be an asynchronous activity or the way it's designed for this particular course is it's for a live webinar. I start lecturing on Toolman and then, or on argument strategies, and then I give them activities to do. So the slide you're looking at here, the idea is that the student copies the slide, renames it with their name, and then they do this activity of going and finding an image and dropping it into the slide. And then after they do that, we move on to talk about Rogerian argument, and then we move on to ethos, pathos, and logos, and again, the activity is a slide. So when the activity is completed, there are a bunch more slides in this slideshow. So right now there's only 7, but say if it's a course of 8 students, and that's small, that means they'll be adding 8 each of these and 8 each of these, and the slides will expand, the number of slides will expand greatly. But again, it's this way to involve students and have them collaboratively producing content. The other one in collaboratively producing content is using Google Forms. So it's Google's online survey application. And so in this particular one, this is actually what I just used in a workshop this past week, an e-portfolio workshop. So here I'm asking, the participant to put in their name, to put what is the physical object or material that students would want or need to digitally archive, and then discuss why that's difficult. So that's the first part of this activity. The activity asks folks to put in information. And then the second part is actually giving individuals the access to the response area of the form. So this area would fill in with folks saying what are the objects and why are they difficult. But then notice this green column here. What I would be saying is, okay, so after everyone has input information here, go in and try to help each other out. Instead of me going in and going like, I'm going to answer every person and try to respond and give them ideas, have everyone participate in responding and giving ideas on how to do this. And this is just one activity. You can hopefully creatively imagine other ways to do that. So in both cases, this is using Google Presentations and Google Forms to create these collaborative learning activities. Finally, then, each week I'm hoping to share an online teaching and learning tip. This is probably the space where I'm really going to try to give please learn from my 10 plus years of mistakes. Don't make the same mistake I did. So in this instance, every week, let's rephrase this, all of my online classes, during the first week of class, I always have students do this activity. So I want them to think about their time management. So I say, download this weekly calendar sheet, and it's a spreadsheet that has hour slots, and notice 12 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's the full 24-hour gamut. So basically asking them to download that and then to fill it in and try to fill it in with everything: work, family, sleep, eating, face-to-face class time. And the big thing here is realizing that how much time do they have left for homework, that there is no face-to-face time for these online asynchronous classes, and they're responsible for fitting it into their schedule. And this hopefully helps students have a reality check of that this will take time and they need to make time. I also find, though, that I'll have notice that I say something about reflecting on the results of it. And I'll always have students who will say something like, I'm really busy and I just realized I'm going to have to come home from work, and after the kids are in bed, I'm going to have to spend an hour or two every night. And this is an opportunity when those students pop up early in the semester to kind of respond to them individually and go like, okay, so be forewarned that if you're trying to cram this on top of everything else, that you're going to be tired and it's going to be easy to let this slip, and try to help them realize that this takes time and it takes energy. For me, a lot of times I try to suggest maybe you want to get up early to have fresh energy, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. That students just kind of need the reminder that this online class will take time. I hope these are tips and strategies that you will find useful, and I look forward to working with everybody in the future.